It's James Murray. Today in the Net News Ledger newsroom, I'm joined by James and Sebastian, and they're on a walk across Canada that started in Victoria to raise awareness for murdered and missing Indigenous women. The issue is huge. James, what do our readers need to know?
They need to know we left on March 28th of after doing a sunrise ceremony on back on March 28th, we left Victoria, BC. I had left. My son was still in school, and he wasn't able to come with us because he's still in high school. He's in his senior years of high school, so he just joined us this last Sunday to finish this last leg as we make it to Ottawa. And I think it's a really good thing for him to do, seeing as his last year of high school, and these teachings that come to him as we go across, just on a personal level. On the other level, with the murdered and missing Indigenous people, not just our women. Right now, the spotlight is on our women, and it is important. But there's also having worked for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission with this inquiry that they've done with the IRS, the Indian residential schools. I could see where the failings were in that, and the people that were being excluded. So now that the spotlight is on our murdered and missing Indigenous women, we can't forget our murdered and missing Indigenous men and our Indigenous youth.
Yes.
And the fact that there's something wrong with this systemic racism that's taught within our school systems. I had personally worked with a couple of people. I worked with School District 63 on Vancouver Island, and educating, letting them hear our story, because that's what the time is now, is for our story to be heard from our point of view, no longer through a colonial view should we be looked at, because Indigenous lives matter, which is one of the things that, one of those things that I'm putting out there as we go across, as I've been coming across these last 3 months. And
we've had Ontario Regional Chief Isidore Day in the studio, and one of our discussions there is that we're all treaty people.
Yes.
And so to bring everything together, we need to be talking together, and we need to be listening to, in a big way.
Yes.
As you've come across, you're halfway across Canada now.
Well, 2/3, 2/3, 3/4 away, I think, almost.
Technically,
now.
if you were going all the way to
Newfoundland, we'd be halfway.
You'd be halfway. This is the middle of Canada here in Thunder Bay.
Yes.
And what kind of reactions, and what has it been like coming across?
Very welcoming. Obviously with our First Nations people, but a lot of the non-First Nations people as well. Like, they realize something is drastically wrong with what's going on here in Canada, and they're very supportive of what we're doing and what I've been doing. And so and like you said, that education, that talking, sitting and listening. I was at a talk. I was asked by the the Federal Liberal Party for Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women talk that they did on January 10th and in Vancouver. At that time, I'd heard different candidates campaigning almost, and I didn't want this to become a campaign issue. I didn't want our people to be another vote. So when it was my turn to talk after everyone had spoke, I spoke to Hetty Fry and those ones that there, and I said in my words, like, you're saying you hear these words, you're listening to us, and you're hearing these stuff. I said, well, now it's time to go into the community and learn what those words are, because everything is still the same and things need to change. In doing that, I really felt like I empowered our people a little bit more to say, hey, look, someone's actually telling these people, because for long enough we've had too many of the old boy type politics where it's okay, we can't say nothing because we're INAC people and it's going to affect our funding. Well, we're not doing anything, and we're losing our people at an alarming rate. Our youth that go to schools out here that come from the northern parts and to big cities like Thunder Bay, Winnipeg, all these places across the country. And as well, we can't let our men fall through the cracks out there, because my son is in a target area right now with youth and all this, and this is my life right here. So I'm out here for as much as him as I am for all my brothers and sisters. Because that's how much I love people. I was struck by lightning in 2003. I've been walking the Red Road ever since. But what happened was, after I was struck at that time, elders that came from the community tell me, Sco, do you realize you were struck when you were 6 months old? And this is what we told your grandpa to do, and this is what you're doing. And so since then, I've picked up my bundle, and I've been carrying it in that good way. Being in that spirit world and having that experience of having my grandpa come back and say, time to pick those things up. You had this responsibility you agreed to when you were small to do these things. And if you want to come here, then it's time. There's no more excuses.
And it's an issue that's very near and dear to, I know, a lot of our readers, to myself, to everybody that we talk with, that, you know, bringing things to balance
Yes.
is so key
Yes.
right now. And so many of the people, so many of the young people, they don't feel that balance.
No.
And that leads to, you know, the lateral violence.
Yes.
That leads to, you know, the abuse of alcohol, the abuse of drugs. People are trying to deal with pain. And, you know, we need to be creating awareness on that. You know, it is a political issue, but it's also a very strong social issue.
Yes, it is a very strong social issue, and it comes down to spirit as well. You know, I really feel that the imbalance, and what I've seen is those children never came home from residential schools. So those spirits of those ones that were waiting for them are still stuck in the communities, and those babies are stuck still trying to get back to those communities. So that imbalance started a long time ago in this way. And I feel that's how it's manifesting to put that hole inside us, that hole that was created by the residential schools. And I never attended residential school, but my first day of kindergarten in public school, I realized what it was to be a dirty Indian. When everyone was asked to share their favorite stories, and I heard Cinderella and Jack and the Beanstalk, but yet I shared the teaching of the beaver and the muskrat, and was told it was gibberish and I shouldn't talk and speak of those things anymore, and then was made fun of by the kids, so I suppressed that. So, you know, we need to celebrate who we are and our culture, be supportive of those ones. My son would sit down at the drum in front of his peers at the school on the West Coast, and that's empowering. And you know, no one razzes him down about it, and it's beautiful because he's proud Anishinaabe as well.
Yes.
You know?
So where to from Thunder Bay?
East. I think we're going to make it for Pick River powwow this weekend.
Okay.
It's about 300 kilometers, and with 4 of us, we're going to relay so we can get there and you know, in a good time. So.
And hopefully some good smoked fish there too.
I hear they have good smoked fish there,
Very
so
good smoked
I'm
fish. Trust
looking
me
forward
on
to that.
Yeah.
You know, and every day when we get up, we start off with smudge. We put down our medicines every day. And if the eagle flies over, we send those prayers to him because he's coming to take those things that, you know, we're asking for the healing for those families that have suffered those losses and were the missing Indigenous people, you know. So our brothers and sisters, I can't say people, but our brothers and sisters that are lost, my aunties and uncles, and, you know, my nieces and my nephews that are out there that haven't come home. So when we see that eagle, we put that sandwa down. If we see that muckanuck, turtle or someone is lost, we put it down and we honor them because, you know, we just try and bring that balance back. And I think the one thing here that we have now that we can help heal this broken bridges that's happened is now there's no more misunderstandings because we speak their language, whether it be in the court systems, through their education that we finally learned. Because of Trent University, I'm able to work in the school district. I don't look at that piece of paper I got as being significant, but those things that my grandfather gave, those teachings that I hold, the Eagle fans, those things that I have that are sacred, that's what's real, you know, and that's what I show the kids. You know, I don't show them my BA. It's like, here, this is what it is. This is what they want to hear about. This is what they want to know about. And the fact that the newer generation, this next generation of leaders that are coming, like I was saying to my son earlier, at 17, I was so lost. I was drinking, drugging, you know, doing all these things. But I see my boy here is, you know, it's just, yeah, we're doing something right.
You're building a platform.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The trying to get across the country obviously takes help
Yes.
too. What can people who want to help support the walk, where do they go? Who do they talk to? Do they have a Facebook?
There is a Facebook event. It's rather large.
Okay.
The name of the Facebook event is called Walking for the Survivors and the Family That Never Made It Home.
So we'll include those in the article, and it'll be right down here on the bottom of the screen so that you can log on and check this out and also help.
Yes,
as
and
well.
in that webpage, there's a GoFundMe account. You can find us in the GoFundMe at Walk to End Violence, and you'll see my mug. There's a little video there. It was done last year when I did this last walk across Canada. Last year I walked for our like I was saying, the kids that never came home from residential schools, and also those ones that didn't have their voices come time of this inquiry. Now the other thing here, when I've called for it, you know, everyone's calling for this inquiry. Our education system has taken a big hit for the money, and all these our healthcare, as well, First Nations Health, like all this money is being taken away to help fund but I can see the inquiry. So if we're having a murdered missing Indigenous women inquiry, our education system can't handle this. But those corporations, there's no reason why things should be so backwards in this way. And one of those other things too that I'm looking to do, and this will be the first time I've actually done this in an interview, is to really unite our people. I know that the Indian Act says that we can't have our own political party, but where there's enough us with our educations now to be able to find those loopholes, to be able to have a voice in this next, it's too late for this one, but come 2019, there's no reason why we can't. And not just First Nations people, but because, like I was saying, the non-First Nations people know something is wrong. And so if we can come together in this way, because now there's no, like I said, there's no misunderstandings. There's no misunderstandings, whether we're just sitting here like this or whether we're in a courthouse. We're speaking the language now. We speak your language, so now you got to sit down and listen, and now we're going to work together. We're going to do what these treaties were designed to do, to live together in a good way. These are the ways we're going to live together. It's all set out here. This is how we do it, But that's how I
thank you for your time, Miigwech.
Miigwech.
You've been very quiet, Sebastian.
He's strong and quiet. So.
So it's James, the Net News Ledger News Studio, and we're talking about helping people today. Thank you both.
Miigwech.